Welcome to Wet and Worthy Woman, the feral feminine conversations that will obliterate the shame that is in the way of you feeling safe and sacred in your body and in the bedroom. Grab a beverage. We are going deep into the underworld of the dark feminine and reclaiming safety in the most taboo aspects of your womanhood. Drop the fear of being too much. Stop feeling numb. Bring your pussy to life. And finally, stop settling for mediocre intimacy. It is time to be worshipped and adored like a goddess by reclaiming your shameless sexual truth. I'm your host, Charlotte Little, sexual trauma survivor turned liberation leader and yoni massage therapist that's about to awaken your erotic energy. Ow! Hello, beautiful community, and welcome to today's episode with a very incredible, radiant, divine, ancient temple priestess of a guest. I'm looking at you, and that's just the words that were coming to me. We have Jayde Alexandra here to talk about the healing it takes to have an epic sex life as a woman. Jayde Alexandra is a feminine embodiment guide, erotic arts facilitator, and the temple keeper devoted to awakening woman's sensual power and archetypal remembrance. Her work through Temple of Eros is rooted in sacred sexuality, ancient feminine wisdom, and the reclamation of the body as a divine erotic temple. Ow! She is a mentor, dancer, creator, and teacher in service to your raw erotic awakening. And she shares wisdom on feminine magnetism, sacred seduction, erotic activation, and how to share it all in sensual service to the masculine too, not just at retreats and in your sisterhood and in workshops. So, my love, is there anything to add to the incredible words I've stolen from your website? Anything you want to bring in? I know you also have an incredible, amazing jewelry line that everyone should please go and check out. Yeah, you are repping the brand today. Anything you want to add to your intro?
Wow, what an intro. That was so beautiful to receive. Thank you so much, Charlotte. And I think that sums me up perfectly. There's a lot there. There's a lot there.
There is a lot there. We're going to dive into it. I can't wait to share your energy, your magnetism with the audience today. You carry a frequency that you can see on the outside, of course, but today we're going to really go into the inside and the healing it takes to really be this erotically embodied open woman. Because yeah, I always get asked all the time, was I always this turned on? Was I always this feral? Was I always this sexually confident? And no, I often remind people, no, this came from a really dark sexual trauma. Of course, years of shutdown really teaches us how to feel alive again. And so maybe you can share your journey on reclaiming your feminine sexuality, or maybe you were just born with it, in the words of L'Oreal.
Thank you. Yeah. I also too really resonate with that. And firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here with your beautiful community. So I'm from Perth, Western Australia, which is a small coastal town on the west coast of Australia. And yeah, look, I would love to say that I was just born this way and it was just an easeful road and it was just smooth sailing and yeah, everything was just handed to me on a platter. But no, that's not the case with me. And I'm also really glad that my path was the way that it was because it's really carved me into the woman that I am today. And I think there is a certain level of grit and resilience that carves through you when you have to walk through the fire of life, when you have to walk and be in the trenches. And there's gold in those trenches that you then get to cultivate and excavate and then share in your life. So, for me personally, I grew up in a really strict old school Macedonian family where the woman was just told to basically shut up. And it really suppressed my expression and my voice. I thought that women just played a certain role and that we didn't have any sovereign power to stand up for ourselves or live a life that was truly for us. And I saw the patterns that played out in my family, especially the suppression of the feminine. And I really internalized that. And that really took me down a road of constantly abandoning my power, constantly abandoning my voice and my truth, and being the nice, good girl. I grew up with so much good girl conditioning that if I was just nice and kind and sweet and just stayed in a palatable little box, then I would be loved and accepted. And that really created this identity around me that was a massive mask, that didn't know how to stand up for myself, that didn't know how to say no. And what that then festered into was a lot of my teenage years just drowning myself in drugs and alcohol and partying and giving my body away, having unconscious sex, creating a lot of sexual shame and sexual experiences where my body wanted to say no, but I didn't have the internalized power to actually vocalize and do that.
Mm.
And so it really led me down a path of creating a lot of sexual shame in my life. Part of that sexual shame was contracting genital herpes. Part of that sexual shame was constantly saying yes when my body was communicating no and overriding that. And it
Mm.
was in overriding my body that my body just started to shut down and stop actually communicating with me because I wasn't listening to her.
Yeah.
So there was these big pieces that happened in my life from early childhood into my teenage years, my early 20s. It was a very tumultuous life for me of suppression and numbing. And it really led me down to then attracting certain people in my life that I didn't know how to stand up for and be in my power. And so a lot of my reclamation in my life has been actually killing the good girl. Literally, like
She needed
killing
to
her.
die.
She needed to die because she was masking who I truly was inside. And I really believe as women, a lot of us, especially, in Australia, we have this tall poppy syndrome where the good and nice girl is it's so infiltrated into our society and our conditioning. You
Mm.
might have the same, I think it's similar in the UK. We have similar energetics in Australia and the UK. And I really noticed this pattern within women, and I definitely noticed it within myself. And it wasn't until I started to look within and actually I needed all of these deep patterns and these deep traumas and experiences to finally wake me up that I was wasting my life away partying, that I was wasting my life away numbing myself with unconscious sex, and there was this self-hatred towards my sexuality and my pussy through my herpes journey. And it wasn't until I started to really do the work and look within that I started to heal my relationship with my body, to my pussy, to my sexuality. And that's when I really started to meet my feminine, my beautiful, sensual, radiant feminine that was underneath all the shit. And I went through a really deep journey of unpacking and excavating and healing and acknowledging and forgiving and loving all the parts of me so that my deep feminine could start to emerge because she finally felt seen and safe and heard. And when I started to meet her, I realized that yes, she is sweet and kind and radiant and beautiful, and she's also deeply wild and passionate and feral and unhinged and psychotic and crazy and dark. And she is this wild, sexual, primordial energy. And I know that you deeply resonate with this, Charlotte. Like this is like your jam. And so when I started to find the other aspects of her, I realized that we are the full spectrum.
Yeah.
And I started to really play in all the different archetypal frequencies that make up the feminine. And
Mm,
this is really how I started to reclaim my voice, reclaim my power, reclaim my raw and wild sexuality, and
yeah.
also really started to integrate all of these parts in me to be a whole embodied woman. Now, this journey I'm still deeply on. I'm a forever student to life. But if it wasn't for me going through those dark times and going down some really, really dark, troubled paths, I don't think I would have had the fuel and the fire to dive so deeply into my healing to really excavate the gold, which is now my service and my deep, deep passion for the feminine and for the women and also the men around me.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, love. I'm so proud of you. I'm so
In a
proud of
nutshell.
yeah, you did that so well. That was like 20 years of life just summarized. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, fuck. Thanks for putting words to something in our adolescent and early years that every woman can probably resonate with to some extent. We have no idea what we're doing, and we just I mean, I confess all the time about my daddy issues on the podcast. I love my beautiful inner child, but she grew up without a father. So I think a part of me was, I still don't know my father, never met him. So a part of me was giving myself away to masculine sexually to try and earn love. So I really resonate on the stupid shit that we do when we're young, when we don't know yet. And, thank you for speaking to the archetypes, because I think for me, when you said it, I just always reflect that, like you said, the wild, the savage, the filthy, the primal parts of me, they were some of the, I'm not going to say they were easy to reclaim, but they were fun. I was like, oh yeah, get me out that freaking cage. But the hard parts for me were the softer side, was the vulnerability, the heart wide open, the I might get completely heartbroken if I open this wide parts. So I'd love to ask you, side question, a couple of the archetypes that you love to see women awaken and the ones that you feel are the most kind of difficult for us to access in our society.
Yeah. I think everyone has their unique blueprint and their unique journey. So, why I love working with various archetypes is because some might be really easy and accessible to some women, and some might be really far away and quite difficult to access. So, I find that the women that I work with that hold a lot of protection over their heart, they can feel like the lover and more of these softer heart wide open archetypes are actually more harder to access because to do so is terrifying to open up that heart. Also, the ones that struggle with self-love, to be in the lover means to be so devotional to yourself and pour back into yourself. So I see with a lot of mothers that I work with, the lover can actually be very difficult for them because they have loved their children and their families for so long that they've forgotten to pour back into themselves. And so that feels deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So for me, the dark feminine and the wild woman were terrifying for me because, as I said, I had this good girl conditioning, this nice girl conditioning. It was actually very easy for me to be in my sweetness. It was actually very easy for me to be in my lover. Yeah, it was very easy for me to be in the heart and just soft and nice and kind. Whereas the dark feminine and the wild woman, more of these more primal, deeper, darker aspects of the feminine, terrified me because I had never, one, been taught that those particular feminine archetypal frequencies were allowed. I never was taught that that version of the feminine was acceptable. And so the wild woman really cracked me the fuck open. Like when I started to work with the wild woman, she fucking terrified me because she was the access point into my wild primal self, my crazy psychotic self, but also she gave me full permission to feel and look ugly and feral. And to me, in my life growing up, I was never given permission to look ugly and feral. Like, no one ever gave me that permission. I never thought that that was allowed. So,
Mm.
here's this archetypal frequency that's literally giving me full permission to be in my wild filth, and it was deeply terrifying for me. I actually struggled to access that part of me for a while, but I was so devoted to this path of work. So I kept at it. And what was so beautiful about it was when I cracked her open, the liberation and the freedom that I felt on the other side was honestly life changing. And
Mm.
this freedom trickled into the way that I had sex. This freedom trickled into the way that I presented myself, that I spoke. There was these chains and these shackles that got absolutely obliterated in the wild woman, and she gave me so much freedom.
Yeah.
And so she's an archetypal frequency that was really difficult for me, and one that I see in most of the women that come and work with me. Most of
Yeah.
the women that work with me are also dealing with nice girl, good girl patterns. And so the wild woman is one that can be uh, difficult to access. Also, the dark feminine was also one that completely changed my life because she felt so far away from me. The dark feminine is an archetypal frequency that owns her truth. She speaks her truth. She owns her erotic power. She claims her life and she really takes up space. So
Mm.
all of these patterns, these tall poppy syndrome patterns, and again, nice girl, good girl tendencies were also obliterated with the dark feminine. And one thing that I really loved with her is her ability to just stop giving so many fucks. Like she
Yeah.
really doesn't give a fuck about your preferences. She doesn't give a fuck about what you think of her. She is just really living in her unbridled, erotic powered self. And she does not give a fuck to take up space and be as big as she wants to be in the room. And she also owns her sexuality. She owns her erotic power. So for me, that was deeply healing, coming from an upbringing where I thought my pleasure for was for everyone else but me, coming from an upbringing where I didn't feel confident to speak my truth. I would hide behind the mask of, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings or I don't want to come across as a bitch.
Mm. Be the
The dark
bitch. Hashtag be
the
the bitch.
dark feminine, yeah, the dark feminine gave me full permission to just own my fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And that was really, really liberating for me. That was really freeing for me. And so I would say for me personally, those two archetypes were my greatest teachers and the biggest alchemy for me. And ones that, yeah, usually the women that come to work with me, those are the biggest alchemizers for them. But as I said at the beginning, wherever you are on your journey, any archetypal frequency can work you in its unique way depending on what you're needing to awaken more of in yourself.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you for bringing in the psychotic and the crazy because every woman listening is like probably also secretly or openly very wild, very unhinged, very feral. My work is a lot about the dark feminine, as you know. And so, yeah, sometimes we feel actually fucking psychotic. We feel insane as a woman. And I don't think other women realize that almost every woman feels like that. Like, literally, we're all thinking there's this crazy part to us, but actually reclaiming it in this archetypal and channeling it into an archetypal expression is so much healthier than exploding and attacking and projecting the people we love, which is why I love the archetypes, because they give me a channel to have my drama poured into so that I don't pour it into my relationships as much. I need, like, every woman, maybe I'm thinking, but every woman I know needs a channel for her drama, whether she's writing like dramatic poetry or she's like screaming underwater on the beach, or some kind of channel for all of this energy that we feel inside of us. And the archetypes are just such an incredible theater we get to play with as a woman for all our multi-dimensions. So you've kind of touched on it already, but I'm going to go straight to the juice. We could talk about the magnetism, the seduction, the sensual, gooey, ooey movement, the crystal pleasure wands, all the things we see on Instagram around the erotic feminine. We could go there, but as you just touched on, what it actually takes to have an epic sex life is not necessarily that. It's more darker, it's more wild, it's more setting boundaries and taking up space that really allows for that life in the bedroom to completely unravel. And I've got an episode on here called The Most Profound Sexual Experience of My Life, which is with my amazing husband. And it was when we just completely took all the masks off and we did this ritual around our deepest fears. And we were really seeing each other in these shadowy thoughts that we were holding about the other one. And we just read them all out. It's an existential kink practice. If anyone knows existential kink, go and read the book, where you write your deep fears and you ask the universe, like, please, can you just remove these? I don't really need them anymore. And then you rip up the piece of paper and you put it in the bin. You don't even burn it, because burning it makes a ceremony of it. It makes it more important. So we really want to tell the subconscious mind, none of this bullshit matters. Rip it up, put it in the bin. And so we did this ritual together and had the most profound connection in the bedroom. It wasn't because of ooey gooey romance and, oh, we went for an epic dinner and we did some tantric eye gazing. No, we got messy. We did fucking shadow work, and that created a much more epic sex life together than any kind of eye gazing was ever going to do for us. So I'd love you to go into that. Like, what does it really take to be this erotically alive woman in her sexuality? And let's break down some of what we see on the surface, which is kind of this self-pleasure and crystal wands. And of course, that's beautiful. And that was part of my journey, but like, it's not really what gets us there. Sacred woman, I need to invite you to touch your vagina. Yes, you heard me. This is the practice that changed my entire life. De-armoring, or yoni mapping, is the process of applying still, loving touch to specific energetic points on the inside and outside of your vagina and your vulva to release the trauma from the past that keeps you stuck in loops of sexual shame, faking it, pretending you can feel something whilst feeling numb as fuck in the bedroom. De-armoring allows you to release the past, the memories in your body of all the times that you were rushed, forced, and things were too fast. These create micro tears in the tissues of your vagina. Just like a knot in your shoulder, your beautiful pussy also stores tension. We are not taught that she needs love, not just sex. She needs to be held. And de-armoring is so life-changing because it is the ancient massage practice that allows you to hold this part of your body with no agenda, solely love. This will create a deep sacred bond with your body, one that allows you to actually feel when you're ready to be penetrated, so that you can hold better standards and better boundaries in the bedroom and have your body met in ways that are so deeply pleasurable and also feeling fucking sacred and not pushed or unmet or unsatisfied in the bedroom anymore. So I'm inviting you into Wise Nectar, my de-armoring program, where I have recorded you 4 bespoke journeys to release the trauma, the tension, the numbness, and the painful memories from your sexual past and be reborn into a beloved, deep, true, real, sacred connection with your pussy. It's time to claim the sex life and the bond with your body that you have always deserved. And it's only £4 to £7 because every woman deserves access to this practice. It will change your life. It will allow you to feel things you never thought you can feel. So the link's going to be in the show notes for you, my love. Please give yourself this time to just spend 45 minutes in stillness with your body to feel what she's ready to let go of. I love you. You're so brave for saying yes to this.
Yeah, babe, I totally resonate. And all of those pieces are so needed, but it doesn't really get you into the nitty-gritty, which is where the magic is. And I love that you said it's when you and your husband got messy. And that is one piece that really helped me unleash into actually having an epic sex life. It's when I took off the masks of needing it to look a certain way, when I took off the masks of needing to sound a certain way. We're so conditioned through porn and all of those infiltration pieces that condition a woman to make her think that she needs to look and sound a certain way to be in her pleasure. And I know for me, especially in the porn industry, it's depicted like women are these high-pitched, heightened screams. It's like up, up, so high, high. And I know when I've been in my deepest pleasure, I'm low, I'm guttural, I'm sounding from my root. And this is the distortion that we have been fed, that we need to look a certain way and sound a certain way to be pleasurable beings and to be sexual women. And so getting fucking messy has been the most liberating and freeing thing for me to have an epic sex life. It's taking off the masks. It's not caring about what I look like. Growing up, having that conditioning of always needing to look pretty, sound pretty, look sexy, look presentable to be loved and accepted. When I started to just let myself be messy, it was so freeing for my system. And as we start to take off the masks, we descend from what the mind is trying to think and control, and we descend into the body, into what the body is actually feeling. It stops becoming this act that we're trying to control, and it starts to be this feeling-based experience where you don't care what you look like, you don't care what you sound like. It's all about how it feels. And I will say, being in a container with a man that you feel safe to unleash these deeper, darker, messier, more primal parts of you can be so healing to the parts of our woman that have always been taught that we need to look in a certain way or sound a certain way to be loved and accepted. So I honestly feel like getting messy and being okay with your mess, like being okay to like get it wrong, get it clunky, be crunchy in it, just takes the pressure and the shackles off for it needing to be anything other than just pure, divine life force energy, because that's all it is. It's pure, divine, primordial life force energy running through you. And when you can play in that and dance in that with your partner, it really becomes this tantric, erotic experience that your mind is checked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when your mind is checked out, your body is checked in. And that is when you can be in the truth of it.
Yeah. Thank you, love. Thank you. Thank you. It's so true. And thank you for bringing the layer of having a lover or a partner that you're feeling safe to do that around. And that is not an excuse for anyone listening to say, oh, well, I can't take off the masks and express my wild, dark, erotic feminine because my partner doesn't make me feel safe enough to do that. Well, then you are choosing to be with a partner who doesn't make you feel safe to be your authentic self. So that is your choice. You are choosing to be in that situation. And it's hard, of course, to walk away from relationship. But at some point, with every man, because I am heterosexual, please, anyone listening, convert this into your language of what gender you love and make love to. But I've noticed with me that if I feel a man no longer has capacity to hold the next level version of me, I have to walk away. And that's happened. I mean, I tell this story a little bit on Instagram that I've been engaged 3 times. I'm now married, thank God. But I walked away from those three prior engagements to incredible men who I was with in long-term 5-year relationships. And I had to walk away because they didn't have capacity to hold the next evolution of me. And that's nothing about them. It's just that as women on this path, Jesus, we are constantly shedding and evolving and transforming. And that evolutionary moment, I've just had a client who's going through a breakup. So this is really with me because I'm seeing women step away from men that are so triggered by the wild witch within her, that are so triggered by it that they say things to shut her down. And they're obviously just like compassion to these men. Yeah, what they're saying on the outside seems like they're evil, manipulative assholes, but actually they're just terrified because they know she's about to leave. They know she's expanded and he's scared. So he's trying to keep her small to keep her with him. And I've seen this so much. And yeah, right now my work is really centered in yoni massage. This is my big part of my work. I just massaged my 81st woman on this week. So 81 yoni massages later, I've seen women come back to the mess. It like whilst I'm holding their vagina hands on, and I'm not doing it's a very non-sexual practice. I'm giving a trauma-informed ceremony to their vulva and internally if they feel called to that. But I see women embrace that mess finally when I'm holding pressure points or trigger points on the yoni massage. And it's the first time they feel like, oh my God, I can scream the no that I never screamed. I can be in the pain and the trauma and the memories that I have not been able to express until now. And having a lover that you can do that with, like other worlds of transformation. More than any retreat or ayahuasca journey, like if you can be on someone's cock and cry about your childhood pain or feel the memories of your ex-partner coming out of you and de-armored by the person you're making love to, like that is a whole other level of erotic. It really is. And people might think, well, that's not going to turn him on. Oh, believe me, like the masculine are aching and starving for real unlocked women who don't pretend that they're having a good time. Like you are felt so much deeper when we can go there. So, yeah, thank you for bringing this. I really want to ask you about the masculine now. Can I do that? You talk so highly of your man and your union, and I love seeing you doing this on your Instagram, on your content. And it's something I'm working with too. I grew up with 3 single feminists who taught me a lot that men are assholes. They're always going to let me down. They cannot be trusted. And there was a lot of resentment towards the masculine. And I think shedding that is part of the process of also opening up to epic sex, is not having that resentment towards the man if you're making love to men. So, what did this process look like for you to clear your past resentment and really speak up your man into the king that you see him as? And yeah, what does this process look like for you? Because I know so many women also feel that protecting themselves in the bedroom from another man that's going to just use them. So, how do we kind of start to clear this resentment towards the masculine?
Yeah, it's such a big piece, and it's a piece that I'm really passionate about, especially right now because my work has been shifting for a little while into this thread of supporting women in relationships, supporting women in dating, supporting women just to heal their relationships with men. Because I've seen just firsthand on my journey how transformative it's been when I forgave the masculine, when I just took off my armor, when I put my swords down and I did the healing that was needed to get on my knees and instead of saying fuck you, actually say thank you. And this is what I'm so deeply passionate about supporting women in. On my journey, I was terrified of the masculine. I was terrified of men. I was terrified of speaking my truth. I hid this behind the mask of the cool girl. Really hid this behind the mask of the cool girl that I didn't need anything. I was cool. Like I don't need anything. Like, oh, that's fine. And what it would do was just build a lot of resentment inside of me and like imprint that I wasn't worthy of the standards and the love and the relationship that I so deeply desired, but was too vulnerable for me to actually admit. And so I would lie a lot to men. I wouldn't trust men. I would fake my orgasms with men because I was too scared to say that I didn't know how, but more so, I didn't know how to communicate exactly what it is that I wanted. And so a lot of my journey has been getting clear with what I wanted and getting clear on my desires and opening my voice and my communication. But a lot of my healing actually came from realizing that the feminist movement was so needed at a time. And I do feel like I truly do feel we're coming to a point where we're evolving out of it. We're evolving into a new way of healing and owning what we want, but we can do this in relationship to the masculine, with the masculine. And whenever I say this, I get a lot of women that are very very connected to the feminist movement. They think I'm against them, and I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying thank you. Yes, we needed that, and we still do need aspects of that. But I think it's gone down a road that is so far off where we're trying to get to together. Yeah? And so what I'm passionate about is bringing us back on the same team. This isn't about one-upping another. This isn't about, well, you did this, and so I'm going to do that, and you did this, and so I'm going to do that. It's about how can we coexist together on the same team. And for me, how I really did this was I forgave the masculine. I forgave him and I started to see him as the king that he is and also hold space and compassion for the little boy inside of him that is terrified. The little boy inside that tries to put up his macho ego because underneath that, he's terrified of actually showing his sensitivity. And so I started to come at this from more of the queen archetype, more of the erotic healer archetype, where I could hold the men that I was inviting into my life with love and compassion and this maturity, where it was like, I'm on the same team as you, and you can bring anything to me, and it's not going to waver me. I see through you. I see to the deeper part of you. And because of that, I can love the deeper part of you. And we're in this together. And so I started to attract men into my life that were deeply healing for me on a sexual level, deeply healing for me on an emotional level when I started to heal myself.
Mm.
And then this beautiful, gorgeous man just catapults into my life, and I'm like, oh God. And I'm met with this conscious, beautiful, strong, passionate man. And the healing that we've gotten to do together has been so profound. And I love what you said, Charlotte, that when you can bring all of you to your man and when you can cry tears on your man's cock, it is so deeply healing for us. And I also feel that is vice versa. When a
Mm.
man knows that he can heal so deeply with his woman in this
Yeah.
mature, sovereign, integrated way, where we're not saving them, we're not
Mm.
coddling them, we're not mothering them, we are loving them into their highest expression. We are loving them into their king because we can see the highest version of them and we're holding that standard for them and the relationship.
Mm.
And there is something so energetically powerful that took place in my relationship with me and Mitch. Once we moved through the trenches of our relationship, we were able to like hold each other in the depths with such maturity. And it was in holding him in those darker times that I realized how healing we are as the feminine for our men and how deeply the masculine need us to bring them back into their hearts. And it took me down a deep remembrance of the ancient erotic priestesses where we used to sexually heal the men in the temples and we used to sexually heal our men and bring them back into their hearts and then send them back out to war. And I have had many deep remembrances over the past few years of this version of myself and this version that I see in so many of us women that are really stepping into this work of unifying our relationship with the masculine, knowing and believing and walking the path that we are on the same team.
Mm.
And the way that we can heal now, I believe, is that we heal together. For a long time, we thought that we had to do it on our own. We thought that we had to, rise above the patriarchy and fight back and this and that. And it's like, yes, I get that. I truly get that. And I'm so grateful for that season. And I truly believe we're moving into an era where we heal together. We both take off our armor. We both put down our swords. We leave our ego at the door and we come at it through the truth and the honesty and the vulnerabilities of our heart, knowing that if we're going to get through this, it must be together.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you. It's the era of the divine union. It really is. And I really stand with you in this, which is edgy because when I first started my movement for women 5 years ago, of course, my main work is around women overcoming sexual trauma. And so there's a lot of hatred towards men in my work. And I just remind women that every woman I know is absolutely starving, aching for deep, profound, cosmic, tantric, conscious, slow, sacred sex. And we cannot have it if we hate men. You can't have both. You can't hate men and let him so deep into your body, into your pussy, into your womb space, into your heart that you can actually let the fuck go and have the kind of sex that you really want as a woman. So, this is such a big piece of it that I see missing. And I'm so grateful that you're here and you're shining the light, and that you also said that you walked through the trenches in your relationship because, yeah, I would say that my marriage has had its year of trenches last year when we went through a big, well, we got married, and that was a huge initiation for us. We moved in together. I moved abroad to be with my man. And that was a big initiation for me, saying goodbye to my life, my clients, my community, my soul tribe, my sisterhood. I was living in sisterhood with my best friends, my family, my sister's children. Like there was so much grief I had, but I knew that I wanted to go all in on love for the first time and trust a man and not have the thought in the back of my head, what if I say goodbye to everything and then he fucks me over? Like, no, I want to go all in on love, heart wide open, swords down, not ready to fight. But then I got here and my ego was fighting. I arrived to this life and I was really fighting. And I feel like we're starting to emerge from the trenches and find a new mature depth, like you said, of better communication, better acceptance for one another, no longer rejecting parts of the other that trigger us, and just really practicing holding that trigger within ourselves and seeing through it to be present with the other one without pushing parts of them away and out of the relationship. So I want to ask you a big question now. Like, and I'm not saying that we're experts or we've cracked the code, but what is the secret to divine love? What has brought you and your man into so much more depth and magic and connection? Like, what would you say? I think you really sprinkled some magic in for us, which is coming into that queen archetype. That's a real key to love from the queen archetype. It must be like, yeah, really profound to do this. But I'm wondering if there's like a little juicy divine love key that you can give us today that's worked for you in relationship.
Yeah, there's a few. I think what we and everyone has to realize is when you choose to go into a relationship and into union with someone, you're also choosing to go into a relationship with their younger parts and their inner child and their wounding and their upbringing and all of it. And for me personally, I always had this more like rose tinted glasses, like fantasy thing on of, oh, I just thought my relationships were always just going to be la-di-da and just skipping off into the sunset and rainbows and butterflies. And I would really avoid anything that wasn't that when things started to come up in previous relationships. And one of the greatest things that Mitch and I have is our ability to stay and be with one another as we are revealing our uncomfortable parts and our parts
Mm,
that we don't believe are lovable and the parts of us that are messy and awkward and clunky and the parts of us that are just figuring it out. And the ability to stay and love your partner through those parts and through the trenches when you're in it, it builds such grit and resilience and deep character within your relationship. You forge this fire together when you're in the trenches, that when you come out of it, and you will, it creates this deeper imprint of your love where
mm,
your love isn't based on rainbows and butterflies, but your love is rooted in forged fire and uncomfortabilities and wounding and all the bits, and the ability to still say yes, the ability to say, I see all parts of you, and I still say yes to them. I still say, I love you to them. And so that's one piece that Mitch and I have really forged in our relationship that has given us this resilience in where we're going. Another thing that I really feel has helped us a lot is aligning and linking our values. So this is more Mitch's forte. He's very masterful in dissecting people's values in life. And what we did very early on was we got really clear on what my values were and what his values were. And ironically, our values are pretty similar. So we have a lot of understanding. But even when there's been different values, it's important to know what's important to your relationship. Like it's important to know what your man is working towards and what lights him up and like what gets him out of bed in the mornings so that you can deeply support him in those things. I think
mm,
where a lot of relationships get it confused is your values are one thing and you believe that your partner's values need to be the same, or they need to um, be on the exact same path as you. And what Mitch and I personally have really cultivated is knowing that we thrive in our differences.
Mm,
And when Mitch is pouring his heart and soul and a lot of his time into his highest values, I know that that's the most important thing in his life. So, as a partner, to deeply understand and support him in that. Whether or not it lights you up is irrelevant. It's about deeply supporting your partner in what lights them up.
mm. Oof. Okay, question. Because I've been speaking a lot to the abandonment wound recently, or not recently, but last year when it was really firing up for me. And I've done a lot of deep work on this. So, what if your man, and there's an incredible poem I just want to quote. I don't even remember what it's called or who it's by, but I have it saved on my phone. It's like the art, I want to say it's How to Love a Man. And she also did one called How to Love a Woman. And in there, she says something along the lines of, if you love a man, let him go for weeks, for months, for days, for years to fulfill his purpose. And this is loving a man. And she says something along this line. And then, as the feminine, most of us hold the rejection, abandonment wound of like, what about me? What about me? You're spending so much time with your friends, on your video game, whatever he's spending time doing, on your business, on your passion, on your sport. Like, what about me? So, what do we say to this part of the feminine whose inner child is coming out and going, pay me attention, pay me attention? And where is the balance between holding this man into his highest values and not abandoning ourselves in relationship? Because there's a fine line, and I am dancing on that fine line all the time and just trying to figure out what is the right thing here. How much can I support my man? And then when do I start to feel neglected and left behind? And what do I do then? So it's like but then my higher self comes in and says, well, Charlotte, we're not in relationship to get something. We're not in relationship to get needs met, to get attention, to get filled up by someone else. So, little side question, what's the balance between bringing your needs and supporting the man into his highest values? And how do you bring your desires and needs to your man as an erotic healer, as a priestess, as a queen?
This is a really great question, and one that I've deeply journeyed as well. There is such a fine line, and this is why I'm really passionate about women finding their purpose and finding what lights them up outside the relationship. Because
Yeah.
if your whole life is going to become the relationship, but your man is deeply on purpose and on mission, there's going to be an energetic imbalance. So I'm passionate about women finding what lights them up outside the relationship. That's the first thing, yeah? The second thing.
Hey, love, if you've been here listening to the podcast for a while and you've been thinking, fuck, I want to do what Charlotte does. I want to help women to reclaim their sexuality. Then I need to tell you about Priestess, my 3-month trauma-informed yoni massage training. Now, this work isn't for every woman, but it is for the woman who is done with the way the world treats the feminine. It is for the woman who will be the beacon of light and show us how to embody safe, slow, consented touch. It's for the woman who's been on her own sexual transformation journey and knows that we can no longer leave pussy out of spirituality. So if you desire to ignite a woman's aliveness, her erotic energy, and wake up her sexual power, you simply cannot leave pussy out of it. Her anatomy is the key, and yoni massage can change her fucking life in the bedroom and in her body in just one session. And guess what? Barely anyone is doing it. So I am starting a revolution of women who show other women how good their body gets to feel, how safe they get to be held with non-sexual sacred 3-hour ceremonies, which will, yes, add a beautiful, phenomenal premium offer in your healing business that allows you to go 10 times deeper with women and multiply your bank account, but it will also rearrange you as a woman. You will not make love in the same way again after learning tantric massage and yoni massage, because when you hold other women with this level of safety and sacredness and presence, you become the embodiment of it in yourself as a lover in the bedroom too. So if you're ready to finally walk away from the day job that splits your soul in half, that has you being a witch by night and a society bitch by day, then come and join Priestess. I only have incredibly limited spots for this yoni massage training. So if you are feeling the cool, I need you to send me a DM on Instagram saying Priestess, or email me hello@thewildfemme.com, Priestess, and I will get in touch with you. We will hop on a call and have a conversation, or you can go and listen to my last podcast episode all about the Priestess training. I cannot wait to share this with you, love, and revolutionize your entire freaking business, love life, wealth, bank account, and leadership, and allow you to become the witch you've always been meant to be.
I think a lot of women want to be with a purpose-driven man, but I think a lot of women don't know what it actually takes to be with one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bow down to that.
For example, my partner Mitch is a purpose-driven man. His mission actually comes before me. In our values, it's his mission first. Yeah? Ironically, in my values, it's actually my mission first as well. So I know that Mitch's mission and purpose is his number one value. When he is like horny for his mission, I also know he's horny for me. Like there is this, when he is like penetrating life with his cock for his mission, I also know that that energy is also the same energy that he's bringing me. When, and this is very important, when I can support him and inspire him to go after that instead of consume him and deplete him and bring him to me. There is such an energetic mastery of this, and this is like something that I deeply teach my women, especially in my container, She Who Remembers. It's about cultivating your power and your energy for yourself so that you don't necessarily need anything from your man. You are this wellspring of aliveness. And because of that, the energetics actually bring him closer to you. He is magnetized and drawn towards you because you're not needing anything from him. So there is this beautiful energetic dance that happens, which does take mastery and it does take practice. Now, in saying that, just because you are a well-springed woman and you are cultivating in your energy and you don't need anything from your man, doesn't mean that you don't have the backbone and the power to stand up for yourself and actually ask for what you want and what you desire. This doesn't mean you just flail around and you just wait for him to finish his calls and maybe he'll come to you and maybe he won't. No, this is about you also bringing the conversation with love, bringing the conversation with maturity of like, hey, baby, I know you've been working so much and I'd really love to feel you. I'm wondering if we can lock in a date night tomorrow night or lock in a date night this weekend where it's just you and me and our intimacy. It's about creating experiences and creating a container for you guys to be in your intimacy. Because, babe, let's face it, when we're at home, you're living together, things can get blurry. The lines can get blurry with work, home, sex life. Maybe you're both working from home. Things can get blurry. So it's about having compassion for all those parts and navigating all those parts, but also having the like the grit and the backbone and also the desire to lead you from what you really want. And this is like asking your man and being the energy for your man that inspires and invites him to book that date night, to drop into you, to be able to like put down his tools and come and be in intimacy with you. I know one of the things that I have to do with Mitch, this man loves to work. Like he will work all day, every day because he loves what he does. And sometimes it takes me coming into his room and actually being like, baby, we're going out for a dance. Put down the tools, and I like sit on his lap and I like kiss his face and I'm like, baby, we're going out for dinner and we're going out for a dance. And he's like, oh, okay, babe. And sometimes it takes him a lot to pull him away from his mission, but when he does, he feels alive again. Sometimes I'm like, baby, you're signing off and it's just you and me. And let's drop into our temple nights. And we organize these temple nights for each other where we put the massage table out, we put the candles on, we put the music on, and we just drop into our intimacy and our conversation and our connection.
Mm.
So there's a few threads here, babe, and this is such a big topic. And I hope I'm just dissecting it as best as I can for the time that we've got. But there is such a fine line between being inspired by your own life and supporting your man to be inspired by him, cultivating your own energy for yourself and being the wellspring of yourself so that he is magnetized towards you. And also, do not forget to communicate and own what it is that you need and desire in your relationship to feel fulfilled and connected and intimate.
Yeah. Oof. Oh my goddess. Yes, this is the topic that has been burning for me the past 6 months, especially very intensely. And I've been in this dance. So it's so good. I mean, that could be a whole podcast in itself. There's so much talking of the
There's
healing
so
it takes.
there's so much there.
There's so much there.
So much
Talking
there.
of the healing for an epic sex life, the healing to do that, whole other level as well. Like it's insane. So yeah, thank you for being that woman that goes there. I'm going to ask you like a couple of closing questions. And as we've touched, I think every woman listening is kind of aching for this God level, divine, stunning, profound, conscious, deep sex. What is one thing you see the feminine doing that completely sabotages it?
One thing?
Yeah, I have to bring you to one thing. Maybe I'll share one as well.
Okay. Okay. I think the main thing that's coming through right now, the main thing that I see is the fear to bring all of herself to the container or the relationship or the lovership. The
Yes.
fear of bringing all of herself. Maybe that's because she's scared of being too much. Maybe that's scared if she's, being looking of being too keen. There is this fear that I feel, and what that does, it affects the energetic flow of the connection, and that
Mm.
directly affects the intimacy and the opening of the field in deep lovemaking.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Fuck yes. Beautiful. Clear the channel between the hearts, clear out all the yuck, and like, yeah, bring yourself, woman. And it's edgy. It's edgy.
And just to add to that, babe, this is why our work is so important because we're bringing women into their unbridled, full embodied expression, that we're getting our women comfortable to be all of themselves, to bring all of themselves, to love all of themselves. So that can then translate to them bringing all of that to their relationship or their connections.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to touch on this because you spoke about it in a post recently, and it's kind of a big question. I don't want to make it too small. I'm just going to let you answer it in the way you want, but I'm aware that we're also closing on time soon. But you recently spoke about this in a post, like You said, quoting you, I'm sick of women feeling powerless in front of men. I'm sick of women dimming their confidence in front of men. Sure, you're fine when you're with your woman, you're in your women's spaces, but when it comes to men, you shrink. And I see this too. And of course, like I'm honoring that a lot of the women listening, like in their culture, they might not feel as safe as we do in Australia, in Europe. Like, I understand that we are in quite privileged countries that do allow us to wear what we want when we walk down the street. So there's levels of shrinking in front of men, and there's cultures where women are doing that to survive, and I want to honor this. And also, what is the antidote to a woman feeling afraid to be herself in front of men? And I approach this from a sexual trauma perspective, where maybe she's afraid to stand out because last time she did that, she got followed home. She got men saying inappropriate comments. Like, we are so afraid in our society of being attacked, of being attracting the wrong attention. That's what my mum always used to warn me. Like, don't wear that, you'll attract the wrong attention. Someone might do something that you don't want them to do. And it was all this fear around women have to hide in order to be safe. And that's how I approach this of actually, I feel so much fucking safer when I take up space, when I walk taller, when I open my heart and I walk through a crowd of men with my chin up, not looking vulnerable as fuck, like, oh my God, what are they going to do to me? Oh my God, I have to hide. Oh, I don't feel safe. I'm going to get, this makes us open more, I feel, to the wrong attention, actually, is when we're not in our power. So that's the way I approach this. But I'm curious what you would say to the woman of like, how can I take up space next to a man? What would you say to the woman who's shrinking right now?
I would say to embody confidence, but not just any kind of confidence, embodied confidence. And embodied confidence to me means that it is rooted, it is like deeply integrated into your body of who you are, how you walk, the confidence that you wear, the ability to say no, the ability to stand up for yourself. And also, babe, embodied confidence to me really means that you have stopped being victimized by your beauty. You've stopped being victimized by being a woman. And you are embodying the confidence and the power that you hold inside of you. And I deeply hear you when you say that, women try and protect themselves, so they try and shrink. And I understand that there is a time and a place for that. But when I say I'm sick of women shrinking in front of men, it really comes from the lens and the thread of women feeling so confident and powerful when they're around women in our circles and in our spaces. But when it comes to the masculine, they just shrink and they lose that confidence. And so I'm really passionate about embodied confidence, the confidence that you do not waver no matter who you're in front of.
Yeah.
And also reminding women that you are her. You're the prize, baby. I think for so long, especially in Australian culture, we have thought that it's the other way round, that, the man has to choose us, the man has to pick us. And I'm like, girl, who do you choose? Who do you choose? You're the it girl. You are her. So walk and act like it. Start remembering
Mm.
that you are her. And it takes deep work, and this is the exact work that we do, Charlotte. It's like we're taking women on a journey to inhabit their bodies, to be that embodied confidence, so that when you are in the face of a man, you've owned your sexuality. You know the rawness and the realness of it, that you're not scared in front of his primal energy because you have accessed yours.
Yes.
You don't fear his masculine penetration because you have harnessed your dark feminine penetration. There,
Mm.
there, there is this cultivation that's needed and why I'm so passionate also about bringing men into my work and having my women dance for their man, embody their beautiful essence in front of their man, is so
Mm,
that we can start to get comfortable with that and we can start to hold the sensation of what that feels like because we don't have a lot of those spaces.
yeah.
When we go out, when we've been younger, dancing at the clubs, things like that, it's been in an unconscious territorial way where I'm passionate about creating spaces where women get to feel comfortable in the sensation that it is to be in front of a man in her essence, because it is highly sensational. I'm not saying it's just a walk in the park, but the more embodied confident we are, the more that we can meet these experiences with power and with truth and with honesty.
Oof, yes. This just screams like ancient priestess to me because I feel I was so drawn to being a stripper for a long time because of this reason. Because I think women in that embodiment, we want to share it. We want to seduce the masculine or whoever we make love to back into their truth by giving this transmission through our embodiment. And I eventually became a burlesque dancer. I was a heels burlesque dancer for 3 years. And when I met my husband, he lived in Spain, I lived in the UK. The first time he came to visit me was like 1 month after I met him here in Spain. He pursued me across the ocean. He came to the UK for a woman he just went on like 2 dates with. And yeah, really hot. And I had a dance show. So I was like, oh, you should come to the dance show. And I fucking claimed him in front of the whole place. I got off the stage. I was like walking over topless in my heels, nipple tassels, and I just got on top of him. And I was like, I am living my most ancient priestess life right now because there's this desire to be seen in that. And I think so many women have that. So thank you for creating these opportunities. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you for bringing your amazing, beautiful energy and wisdom onto the show today. It's a deep subject. There's so many layers of healing and transformation and unlayering that it takes to be this erotic healer in the bedroom with our lover. So, on that note, if women want to do that work with you, where can they find you? How can we come into your world right now? Anything you want to share with us?
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's been such an honor, babe. Yeah, and I feel like we can just speak for hours and hours. So, yeah, I really, really appreciate you having me on to your beautiful community. It means a lot. So,
Hmm.
you can find me on Instagram at jade.alexandra. That is JAYDE.Alexandra. And I have just completed a retreat here in Bali. And I'm also currently in a group online container that I'm running called She Who Remembers. So the only ways that you can really work with me at the moment is some one-on-one work. So you can always just reach out to me on Instagram and I can send all of those details to you. And you can keep up to date on my Instagram with further offerings that will be coming. I actually had an offering drop in today, another group container that I'm feeling very excited to dive more into and launch, but that won't be until the spring. So just keep an eye out on my Instagram for all further updates to come. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so good.
Oh, thank you, my love. Thank you for this delicious conversation. I'm going to put all your links in the show notes. And yeah, so appreciate the work you're doing, the layers you go to that I don't see anyone else going to. Yeah, really admire you for the woman that you've become and the ripple that you have. So thank you for being here, love.
Thanks, babe, and right back at you.
Oh.